Global demand for tertiary education is forecast to rise to an extra 100 million students over the next 15 years. That means it is equivalent of founding 4 new universities of 40,000 students each per week during the next 15 years.
We are now at a point where there is a major paradigm change in front of us. They are not easy to do, and there are enormous inertia and enormous resistance coming from various parts. But the reality is that very soon we will have many more people than what we have now enrolled in higher education.
What should we be teaching today to equip youth for the future, and is there a way we can do it better?
The World Academy put into its credo right from the beginning the principle that the Academy would be concerned with all forms of knowledge generated in terms of the social consequences and policy implications. So values interplay with each other as they're sought for their own sake. They also influence every other value, making the lives more complex.
Personal or student-centered education goal is to protect and promote the innate capacities and the potentiality, and our ambitions are high. We want to graduate people not only to get skilled jobs, which is important indeed, but to graduate them to life as fully functioning person. That's, the ground where they would be solid in dealing with reality, personal life, family life, professional life.
Who is the student in education? What are the edges of the student? How are they augmented? Who and what is the person that we understand at the heart of education?
We have generated knowledge over the past within silos. We have, in a sense, lost the Renaissance concept of education that used to exist, but then have made education subservient to the needs of a paradigm, which essentially where we have lost the concept of the unity of learning, insofar as the complex interconnections between the various disciplines.
We take this large and lovely flower, we separate it into different petals. We take one petal and we will pull it a little, we squeeze it, squish it a little, we make it fit our specific requirement, and we show it to the student. And we expect them to recreate the whole and then to appreciate and admire it. Which is what we do actually when we teach the subjects in isolation, and then we give them tests and exams and evaluate them, and then we create competition between the students. And then in the real world, what they need is teamwork. You have to work together. And so, somewhere between graduation and employment, we expect them to figure this out and accomplish that transformation, which results in actually what we see as the skills gap. Looking at everything in the context of the whole is so essential to address anything effectively. And if we want adults to be able to do this, we have to teach them in such a way that they think that way.
You could probably study every subject from one subject. Instead of studying subjects, if you study problems, which essentially is what we're doing in the academy, we've moved, that's the difference. One way to describe the difference in the academy is we've moved from the disciplinary approach to the problem-centered approach. And we're looking for a conceptual framework to help us move through. And what do we find? We find it relates to every subject. And that's why we end up with a multi or a transdisciplinary perspective. We're trying to find the processes that are common to the solution for global warming or poverty or political instability or nuclear weapons or anything like that.
Do we need to get beyond a discussion about a reliance on jobs towards a recognition of the other factors such as communities, family and home care, and local economies that are able to withstand global shocks as core components of what we worked with as interdependent economic resilience? Some of the things that were missing, though, need also to be acknowledged. This is despite working with a significant number of people. Missing from discussions of the relationship between education and the future was the possibility of radical positive transformation, the possibility that massive breakthroughs might be achieved.
He's actually able to integrate opposites, competition and cooperation, theory and practice, aesthetic life and abundance, one discipline to the next. He is able to discriminate between good and bad ideas. She or he is able to ask the right questions never been asked and respond to challenges never been responded, all in a very unique, individual way every day in each human being. We cannot be not creative. We're always creative, all the time, 7/24. The question is just, can we unleash this capacity to its maximum?
When I use the word mind, what is the symbolic picture you see? Do you draw a brain and a data processing facility? Or do you imagine a stack of past memories? We don't have to train by accumulating information and data processing. We just need to use our mind how it is supposed to work.
We have to see how we can motivate people. To motivate, mobilize, and to move, you need to hit their heart. You cannot motivate, you cannot mobilize, especially you cannot move people by rational thinking.
What works in making a difference in learning, performance, creativity? Peer tutoring makes a huge difference. Personal and interpersonal variables in this huge historical eminence study oversteer institutional variables by factor 2.
So the role of professor is not just top-down kind of lecturer, but he should become a facilitator of learning. And professor should become the referent power-based leaders. Referent power-based leaders means professors should lead their lives, not just a technician to deliver the knowledge to the students and so on and so forth. He or she should live a life himself.
Because universities, as they are currently configured, are hostile to openness, vulnerability, self-disclosure, the development of self.
Leaders and countries should not shy away to make sure that they reform those organizations and commons sans frontier type of approach. There is a lot of voluntaries where the stupid system cannot resolve things anymore like it happened in the Ebola case. There is a propeller and there is a new dynamics coming from something which is bottom-up, which is unstructured to a certain degree, at the same time very well organized.
Learning how to learn, the process. Learning from mistakes, what usually we learn to hide and not to be punished. Planning, it means not top-down, but, involving all the stakeholders. Not to be dictated by the will of the students and the dictatorship of the students. No, there are some, things, but we decide together that, and we experiment, and we learn from failure.
From the beginnings of our education, we are learning new paradigms. The characteristic of a paradigm is from within the existing paradigm, the perspective from outside that paradigm makes no sense. And problems that confront us which we're unable to solve appear because we insist on limiting ourselves within the existing paradigm. Once you get out, once you look at the wider paradigm, it doesn't negate the other paradigms. It doesn't say economics is all wrong or political science. It simply says they're part of a wider whole, and we have to understand them from a wider perspective. We have been growing and evolving, and we are capable of that development.